What's up guys, hope everyone is doing well. In this video I'm going to be going over XYO and the news that has come up within the last few days. You can see here this article title being "The DePIN sector is heating up as XYO crypto surges 200+% following Tesla partnership speculation." Before I get into further elaborating on the various pieces of news surrounding XYO, I want to go over here the crypto bubbles, including Bitcoin, Cardano, Ethereum, all the other various altcoins I've been going over here recently. As we're entering this final stretch for Bitcoin and its bull market, we're starting to see many things showing signs such as Bitcoin dominance and more of altcoin season really starting to begin here, in the sense of it entering that really parabolic run up towards the upside. And as you can see here on a monthly basis, using the crypto bubbles, everything looks absolutely fantastic. Outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, everything is over 100%. Looking here at XYO and XRP, those have been performed the best. XYO is right now has the highest percentage gains, which obviously it's pumped. I actually saw something recently. Somebody said that from, I don't know where they did, I forgot exactly what the bottom price was. I think it was around 0.003, which is near the bottom, up to the local high that it's reached recently. Maybe not the exact local high, but a 14x so far. So I mean, that's very good to see as well. And clearly, as I already said, I mean, all these other altcoins are performing very well, and it very much so does appear that the true parabolic, that full throttle impulsive season, altcoin season, is right around the corner. It might even really start to begin in terms of really starting to see a lot of these altcoins that I've been going over recently breaking the descending resistances that I was showing and going over in the prior altcoin video, solidifying breakouts above these resistances, solidifying support, and then really beginning those impulsive, highly volatile thrusts towards the upside. But as we look here, we look at here the X profile of Scott P. Shepard, being one of the co-founders of XYO. On the 2nd of December, you see here that he posted, "Confirmed, next Thursday, December 12th, I'll be visiting a Tesla hardware installation center for the XYO Cybertruck. Early phases, build XYO." He's posted a number of things within the last few days. Here he says, just 2 hours ago, "A very exciting agreement was signed today, going to be critical in properly developing the XYO and Tesla integration. It could also entail 90,000 smart houses integrating into the upcoming XYO ecosystem. Get ready, build XYO details incoming." Now this is, again, even more massive. So not only is he, and in general we're seeing this Tesla XYO integration, but as it said here, you see the 90,000 smart houses integrating the upcoming XYO ecosystem. I mean, even XYO themselves is a project which Scott here, from what I've gathered over the last few hours looking into this, isn't necessarily massively associated with XYO anymore, which I'll get to that here in a few moments. But he still appears to be working with companies, or even the person that is over, let's say, just partner companies that are working on building the XYO ecosystem. Obviously, I mean, he's a co-founder, so I mean, even if he's not directly a part of the, let's say, the foremost team that's working on the project of XYO itself, he's still clearly going to be associated with it, and he obviously cares about it, as you'll see through these tweets. Let's see here. He says, here again, 2 hours ago, off to bed, very exciting day coming tomorrow, as well as Thursday evening, focused on building XYO, moving faster than people thought possible. Stay tuned. He said here 7 hours ago, exciting announcement, we'll share soon. Been in building mode all day. Get ready, laser focus on XYO and Tesla. Tesla is playing in a whole different arena than every other car company. Perfect partnership, as they're the ideal sentinel. And sentinels are actually the hardware devices associated with the blockchain solution that XYO is, in terms of it being associated with the Oracle, DePIN infrastructure, building geo spatial relevance to location data, essentially just collecting location data of the Earth building a mesh framework that's obviously within the blockchain infrastructure itself. So kind of just essentially mapping real world geolocation data into the blockchain in terms and in form of a mesh network. Now he did say this here, which this was 3 hours ago. So this would be after he said that he had confirmed this visit to the hardware in terms of the hardware installation with Tesla and all of that. But he says, I'm saying XYO and Tesla are a perfect partnership because they work hand in hand in creating a very lucrative data market, with Tesla acting as a sentinel in the world of XYO protocol. So essentially, I mean, Tesla, obviously, these are going to be cars, these are going to be transportation vehicles and devices. And essentially, but when he talks about this hardware, the XYO protocol will then be built into the hardware of the Tesla itself, and it will be used to geomine XYO. And he even actually put up a poll as well, asking if people would like to see this associated with geomining things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, or even more. So I mean, this could end up being, if this goes very well, if it ends up being solidified, fully legitimate, and this really starts to go through, then this could end up, especially like I said, those smart houses, 90,000 smart house integration. I mean, this could end up being massive. But he goes on to say, this isn't announcing or declaring Tesla as a partner. Tesla is very slow and selective with the partnerships. We need to first develop and work together using the integration approval we received from Tesla, as well as a hardware installation that opens up a new stream of valuable data. More details to come next week. I'm laser focused on XYO and Tesla because I'm obsessed with both. Again, more details to come next week. Not investment advice. Do your own research. So it seems to be here when he says integration approval we received from Tesla, appears to be related to that tweet that I was talking about up here towards the top that he has pinned in terms of the confirmed next Thursday, December 12th, he'll be visiting the Hardware Installation Center. There appears to be some degree of confirmation. Obviously, he's using the word confirmed itself. I mean, obviously, it appears that Tesla's communicating with him, but it seems that they're still in the preliminary stages. And I'll actually get to something here in a moment that I think actually further validates this, is having again, this is all speculative, who knows what's going to happen, but from what I've been looking at and reading in the last few hours, that it seems to be that more likely than not, we will see this follow through quite positively. But if we look here, there's one other thing that I wanted to look at here. So again, when he posted talking about the 90,000 smart houses integration along with the Tesla integration in terms of the XYO ecosystem, somebody asked him a question. He was like, how are you making agreements when you're not even a part of the official XYO team? What's your relationship with Ari Trau now? And Ari Trau here is the actual founder of XY Labs. So I mean, the company more so rather than the actual cryptographic coin itself and the blockchain solution itself. The company behind, and they've worked with like Bluetooth in the Bluetooth realm with other projects in the past that aren't necessarily related with XYO itself in terms of the Oracle, the DPIN, the cryptographic currency. So he's the founder of XY Labs, the founder of XYO itself, and then here we see Scott saying separate company altogether. So what he's saying here is that he, still being a co-founder of XYO, it seems that he's kind of distanced himself, which I'll again touch on that in something I saw about that here in a moment. But it seems that he seems to be somewhat distant, not necessarily a part of the foremost team that's directly working on XYO as a project itself. He seems to be kind of branching off into other companies, whether or not he's directly the owner or like the head guy over them, or if he's just working with them. But he goes on to say, just as Ethereum has independent companies that are developing for the Ethereum ecosystem, XYO has independent companies developing for the XYO ecosystem. Couldn't have been possible without the incredible work of Ari and the XYO Foundation team. Now, when I've been over this coin in the past, XYO has already been partnered with like Microsoft, FedEx, and other credible entities within the various the myriad diverse sectors within the business realm, and how obviously that broad sphere of just aspects of society, and even going down to hospitals, just talking about the use cases of XYO's Oracle and a DeepIn and the geolocation services and the mesh network that it's mapping into in terms of the location data into the blockchain itself. Being obviously with Tesla, I mean that's going to factor into GPSs, not only just obviously geo mining, XYO, maybe even other cryptocurrencies, as he's asked with a poll, which is somewhere I believe down here in the replies. Shouldn't be too far down. Here it is right here. He said, this was just 13 hours ago. XYO was a given. Obviously, assuming this Tesla integration goes fully through. But he goes on to say, what other coins would you like to geomine from your Tesla? This helps with our first release. And then he has a poll for Doge, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then others. But obviously, Doge is the biggest here. I mean, obviously, Tesla, Elon Musk, clearly very heavily associated with Doge. A lot of people would say that he was the main reason for Doge pumping during the last bull market. But I mean, this is just fantastic, especially if Bitcoin could be mined. You're just driving your Tesla around and you're geo mining Bitcoin. And that's kind of, would be a little bit easier than, having a massive facility full of a bunch of mining rigs, taking up a lot of power consumption, this and that, having to mine Bitcoin that way. But if we move here into the coin market cap, so up here in the top left, it's rather small, you may not be able to see it too well, but right now XYO is ranked 199 out of all the 10,286 active cryptocurrencies listed on CoinMarketCap, so that's great. Before this most recent pump that it has seen, it was within the 400 to 500 range, so it's jumped roughly, 200, 300 spots with this recent pump, so I mean, that's fantastic to see. Here as well in the CoinMarketCap, I would like to read two of these comments. Here somebody said, many people are selling XYO right now, but what they may not realize is that the liquidity to buy back at a better price is very low. This means that once they sell, it will be harder for them to get back into the market at the same or lower price. As demand continues to grow and the price moves higher, they'll likely have to purchase XYO at a higher price if they want to re-enter. With major partnerships, rumors of a Binance listing, and the ongoing alt season, XYO is positioned to keep growing, and those who sell now may end up paying more to get back in later. Holding on to XYO now could mean securing a better price as the project continues to rise in value. Thought that was very interesting to read. They also didn't. This is one of the first time that I saw, as he mentioned, the rumors of the Binance listing. That's also very big. So, and really, we're seeing three things here. We're seeing the potential Tesla and smart house integration, and then this Binance listing. And then the final thing here that I wanted to read was this comment where you see this guy posting this screenshot here of the official XYO account saying in a reply here, I couldn't find this. It wouldn't, when I was on X, it wouldn't let me go back far enough. As soon as I got to a certain point back in time, it was saying it was having trouble loading the tweet or the posts. But they said Scott left XYO in 2019. I mean, maybe this is a fabricated screenshot. Part of me feels like this picture kind of just looks a little weird. I don't know if that's just, my mind kind of playing tricks on me, or because I can't find it or anything like that. And as I already said, it seems that this Scott guy, like I said, the co-founder, seems that he's distanced himself a little bit from being a part of the main four in the group that's in the forefront of working on the XYO as a project. Seems like it, as I said, he seems to be kind of, from what I've gathered, kind of branching out, working with other companies to just further develop the ecosystem of XYO. If we move here to this, which is something I was referencing earlier, where you can see this is coming from the official XYO X account. XYO is the oldest and largest DePIN in the world. This may sound like a bold claim claim for those new to XYO, but we began before the term was even coined and others got into the space. Learn more about our history in this episode of DePIN State, and here this video about 30 seconds long. I'm going to play it.
You and Helium have kind of a shared almost timeline, as I think they started 2013. XYO was started in 2012, and then 2018 you guys do the But I think 2017 is the blockchain, 2019 is the coin app. But for folks who may not understand, like, oh, this is a proof of location and trustless oracles and the rest of it, like, walk me through for a normal person how XYO works. They sign up for an app, and then what do they do with that thing?
Yeah, let me tell you a little bit more of the history so it's easier to understand what we currently do.
You and Helium.
So just to explain, so this guy right here is the interviewer, and then this guy here that's small up here in the right upper right corner is the actual guy that's being a representative for XYO. And there's a link to the full thing. I will link that in the description of this video if you're interested in going and checking that out. Also, I will likely link here this guy Scott's account in the description as well if you would be interested in going to his page and looking at some of the tweets that he has been, or the posts rather. I don't even really know what to call them anymore. Calling them X's is kind of just clunky and odd. But these posts here on X, the ones that I didn't go over, that because there's quite a lot over the last few days, if you're interested in checking those out. But we move in here to the XYO chart. I went over this yesterday, but there's actually one thing I forgot to point out before I get to the main thing I want to talk about here. Is if I take a trend line and connect this local high here back in around mid-January 2023, and then connect it here to this local high in March 11th. Not only are we already above this ascending yellow trend zone, which I was mentioning is important in the prior video, I mentioned that clearly XYO is quite substantially above this at this point, but we're also, XYO here is also above this, what could have been a potential resistance. Now, at this point, XYO is wicked up to roughly 4.5 pennies. Right now it's sitting right at around roughly just approximately 2.5 pennies. And it's above this, so I think, you know, what could be potentially possible here is maybe it actually continues to trend down a little bit more, closer to 2 pennies on the dot. And we'll see just some short-term rejection here. Yeah, I think it's still definitely possible that, let's say it continues to come down more. I think it's possible, again, like I said in yesterday's video, to see around up to like 40-45% at most drop. Now, actually, if I here quickly go to Phantom, one of the other altcoins I've been covering, if you look here in the last bull market here for Phantom, we saw that there was this drop here that was pushing 80%. We saw this drop here was pushing 85%. Matic didn't really have one. You know, if we look here at Theta, this one drop right here was pushing 65-70%. And I'll touch back on these and the relevance, other relevance they have with XYO that I'm going to be talking about in this video here in a moment. But if we then come back to XYO and we look at this retracement that we saw here during the last XYO bull market, it was pushing 70%. There's this one right here that was again pushing 70%, you know, at most, which if I backtrack, yeah, so like 70 to 80% was this biggest retracement back here. So I mean, it's definitely possible. I mean, like I said with Phantom and, you know, those other altcoins there, I mean, in a bull market, I mean, we could see something potentially that big. 80% would drop it all the way back down to around 0.0086. So let's just, you know, let's just round that up to approximately 0.009. So just right below a penny. So I mean, that's definitely in the room of reasonability. And if that does happen, I wouldn't necessarily say like that's a clear indication that this pump was nothing. You know, XYO is just gonna, you know, tank here. It's not actually gonna do much. I mean, that could totally happen, as I've shown. I mean, but again, like I said, I think a 45% drop down, you know, from this wick high. Let's see, 45% would actually be putting it right around where it is right now. So I mean, we could, you know, XYO could just sit sideways here for a bit and then pump some more, or, you know, this pump might not be done yet. It might, you know, over the next few days, it might push back up closer to the all-time high of around 7 to 8 pennies. It might push higher than that. Who knows what's going to happen? I mean, right now it's performing very well, especially with this Tesla news and, you know, mentioning that that smart house integration. If this ends up going well over the rest of this month, leading into next year, obviously factoring in the clear signs that the altcoin season is essentially already here, and the real beginning of the major parabolic impulses we'll start to see for altcoins is within, I mean, I would say within the next month to two, three at most. Well, likely, closer than that. I mean, we could start to see a lot of these altcoins, such as XYO here, Phantom, Matic, the ones I've been covering recently, breaking their all-time highs before the end of this month, at earliest. So again, getting above that resistance is key. Again, we could see those potential retracements that I pointed out. But the last thing I want to talk about here is the circulating supply and the market value. So I went over the market value at 50 cents to $1.80. That factors in my phase cycle theory again. So this impulse we see right here, starting at this second bottom here of this this double bottom here that we saw for XYO. And again, we're seeing the same thing right here as well. As I mentioned, the slope for the double bottom here and the slope for the double bottom here is basically literally exactly the same as I showed in one of the prior videos. So again, a lot of similarities. And again, factoring my phase cycle theory, this would be the bull market here that would then translate over, which then gives the conservative the reasonable range of that, 50 cents, approximately 50 cents to $1.80, which would give it anywhere from around approximately 7 to 25 billion market value. And that's quite low, especially if the total altcoin market, so everything, the altcoin market excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, even if it just pushes the lower bound, as I said, somewhere around like 3.45 trillion, 7 to 25 billion is, I mean, that's just a small drop in the pond. That's not much at all. But especially if it pushes higher than that towards the upper bound, so anywhere from around like 7 to 10 trillion, again, it's just still even a further drop in the pond. But given the recent news that I've already gone over, I did add some further levels. Approximately $8 was a level that I was talking about a while back, many months ago, about for XYO as a potential area. I mean, really, when it comes to the overall market valuation, I would say anything from this 50 cents to approximately here, approximately $15, specifically $14.40 which would give it around a $200 billion market value, is rather reasonable. But anything above that, so we see $28.80 here, and then at highest $36. So at $28.80, it would be worth around 401 billion, and at $36 it would be worth around 501 billion, so roughly half a trillion, which brings me into why I have Phantom here again. So the market value at its upper bound would be approximately 550 billion, Matic at its upper bound 270 billion, Theta upper bound 250 billion, and clearly see the lower bounds here, 170 billion, 117 billion, 252 billion. So clearly there's a lot of altcoins that I've already gone over that are also, again, credible and good projects with integral use cases. And now again, so let's say that the total altcoin market value excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum is only like, let's just say approximately 4 trillion, so anywhere from 3 to 5 trillion. Once it starts to push here for XYO half a trillion, I mean, especially if Phantom's going to push half a trillion, if Matic, potentially pushes approximately, 1/3 of a trillion, Theta doing something very similar as well. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of other altcoins that are going to be, and even altcoins that I'm not covering that I probably have no idea they're going to end up being worth a lot by the end of this bull market and alt season. They're clearly going to have to take a sizable chunk of the market value overall, so which is why I mentioned pushing that approximately $15 right here at around 200 billion would be kind of that point where the reasonability starts to drop off a little bit. So I mean, I could demonstrate it such as let's say look at like a bell curve here. We could say the $15 is here, and then the 50 cents is here, and then this over here would be the $36. So we have 50 cents, insanely reasonable. And then we kind of push up here to that $15 being the midpoint, and then the reasonability starts to drop off here towards, anything above that approximately $15. And so as you can see here, $1.80, obviously, so we see approximately 25 billion. multiply that by 4. That's then gives us the $7.20 target at 100 billion. Then just doubling that to the 1440 gives you that 200 billion, and then doubling that gives you the 2820. Overall, we're also seeing 714, skipping 21, then going to 28, and then after 28 would be around $35, which would be just rounded up to around the $36. Which, I mean, if you add $28.80 to $7.20, that is what gives $36. So just kind of show some sort of a logic behind why I have these price targets, and the way that they're increasing in terms of multiplication, and then that addition process there that I just demonstrated. But let's say that it actually from bottom to top here, if XYO, let's say it just does happen to push $36. If it does do that, $36 would, from bottom to top, would be a 1.3 million% increase. Let's just kind of draw that down to just approximately $30. That's approximately a 1 million increase. Let's move that down to around 1440. That's going to be around a 520,000% increase. The $7.20 is going to be around a 260,000% move. So this right here, the $7.20 will then be rivaling what Phantom did during its last bull market from bottom to top. It was around 215,000%. One of the best movers in terms of looking at actual viable blockchain solutions that have genuine use cases in terms of their protocols and their projects. So, I mean, theoretically, we could, I think there's a decent likelihood behind seeing XYO shoot way past $1.80. And then, like I said, that's like, let's say just approximately $7 to $15 range is a little bit more reasonable and conservative, rather than that pushing towards, let's just say, around like $25 to $36. As I said, it starts to reach $500 billion. But overall, again, just to sum everything up, I mean, all of this seems to be looking very good. With the Tesla integration, the potential smart house integration, hopefully all this ends up going very well. I mean, best case scenario, I mean, that's obviously what I want as somebody who's been very interested in XYO. And then also, again, with the fact, and I actually just found this out recently, this was posted December 1st of this year. I didn't even know, as he said in this video here, that XYO has actually been around as early as 2012, and then, like he mentioned, the coin app, and then being later on after that, I think it was like around 2017, he said. And then we also have the data here for the XYO chart itself goes back to around 2017, 2018. So that would, again, the coin app being associated with XYO coin itself as the kind of like asset that you can buy that's acting as the placeholder for the project itself. But that was all that I wanted to talk about and go over in this video. So as always, none of this is meant to be financial advice, but all that being said and everything gone over, I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Such a long time is what we've been through.